What's up? Um, just waiting for you to click off, and then we'll get started. All right. Hey man, it's fucking wow, fucking the 25th, as they've told me, and why am I here? Right now, Spiffy Christmas, whatever this is rendering before me. This is the third attempt. Something about the oh look, these effects are turned off. Never mind, it's about to be the fourth attempt. This is a lot of tries for a fucking 5-hour editing Spiffy Christmas as we speak, guys. Yeah, you know, this gives me a chance. Let me check. I think I disabled something here. This edit. It's weird for me. I was thinking this as I was thinking of starting this recording. But, about how it's like, it's weird to talk about an edit that you're kind of still, it's one thing. A lot of these videos that I've made here have been in sort of reflection or in hindsight of something, and this one is like it's ongoing. Usually I make the video, well, I mean, as of last year, usually I don't make the video. But yes, someone else mold does. But yep. Hey, hope you had a good year, I guess. You know, someone kind of told me to make this video. Well, yeah, someone requested, I guess. They were, for some reason, wanting to hear me speak. And, you know, I don't know, like, I'm not gonna, you know, I could go into this thing, like, the last few years I've made these videos, and, like, I think back to them, and I'm, like, thinking, dude, I don't even know you. So I could go into, like, my whole, you know, dive into my fucking thought process or mind, but it's like this channel is so obscured, actually, for my personality, which is interesting. Like I have other YouTube channels where I talk and say normal shit, and it feels comfortable because it's like, as a channel that I use, it's like familiar. It's like a group of friends that you can say whatever you want around or something. That's not what this channel feels like. I mean, in a literal and figurative sense. Like, this channel, I don't fuck with it, and it has a hoarding influx of people who are just what they call the damagers. The my guyers. So, you know, I don't have that much of a connection to any of that. My you know, it's fun, like, reading the comments sometimes. on that. You know, I'm always getting a couple a day or so. So they pop up on my email or whatever, and it's fun. You know, it's always, I guess, a welcome thing. But obviously, I'm a little more interested in like, uh, well, not that. I have not much to like throw in the regard of being the my guy. So, you know, some people have been commenting on that recently. It's interesting. They've been saying that I revived Minecraft. That's funny. How it's like I had that thought when it was happening, but I remember relatively quickly dispelling it and sort of humbling myself and saying like, no, I mean, not really. During that time was also like the Call Me Carson era and the fucking what was it, the Lunch Club, and those guys were huge. Like I still, you know, I know there's been like a whole bunch of posses, Minecraft fucking clans since then. Like you got the Dream and the Quackity or whatever. I still think that the Carson era was the shit. I guess it probably didn't reach the same kind of peaks that like fucking Dream did, but Dream and his droogs. I feel like I shouldn't. I feel like I'm wasting my breath here. um, yeah. So anyway, Minecraft, the topic at hand. Yeah, I'm watching these frames go by. It's one frame per like 6 seconds. It's looking good. I do have some thoughts about this year, about this year, and by what I mean by that is this edit. Um, I definitely had an experience this year with this edit. It's a strange, I think, thing to even talk about. But man, it seems like my mic is so low. Let me pause it for a second. I don't want it to be fucked up this whole time. Alright. So yes. This edit, Spiffy Christmas 24, aka number 9, is first and foremost, I suppose, it's officially one day late. This is the kind of thing where, you know, you might hear people say this here and there throughout life, or you might just think it once or twice. But, like, when you're creating something, well, you know how they say, like, you're your biggest critic or whatever, or something like that. I had a lot of moments in the last day or two where I was thinking I was really not very pleased with the direction. Well, the direction was okay, but I basically spent the last 2 days like crunching like pretty much never before. Losing sleep. I mean, I can't pull all-nighters. I can't do that kind of thing anymore. I can't. I used to be able to do that when I was young, but like, I don't know. I can't stay up all night anymore. Maybe if I would have stayed up all night like one night ago, but even then, it's like I start like I start becoming pretty disillusioned with what I'm doing, and I'm losing interest, if nothing else. I'm like, all right, I did that, you know. I did that whole segment. Now I have a full minute left to go through of just fabricating something from nothing. It's pretty difficult to do in one day, and actually make it like all look decent and kind of cohesive and flow together properly. So I learned a couple things, um, especially in the last 24 hours. Um, I think it might have been a couple years ago, 2022, where I was talking about uh, not beating myself up over not getting to things. But this year I have kind of reassumed that unfortunate mindset of, yeah, I really like it's funny because I really feel like I've created something really amazing here, but there have been certain compromises that make me regret like so much of it. And this is the kind of thing where it's like when I post this, no one gives a fuck. Like no no one cares. That's such an interesting thing about like just expression and art. Is it's like whatever form it takes or whatever you're doing, there's always gonna be maybe some like KD fan, like Sad Toward Weller type dude who's like uh uh critiquing your last album like it's fucking like it's technical analysis, which that shit is so unimportant. What really matters, I think, about art is like this the subject matter doesn't even matter that much. It's just about like conveyance. It's about just what's being said. And really, more than anything, it's just about being creative, I think. That's something that I've taken away from this year. It's probably something I always kind of knew, but didn't give as much fruition to until this year. I feel like there isn't really like a good or bad art. It just is. And you have to like, I feel like something a lot of people don't realize is you have to like put yourself in someone's art. And you don't need to understand it to enjoy it either. Or you don't need to understand it to appreciate it. So that's important. So the next time you're listening to an album, like, give it a chance, dude. Don't just listen to it once and be like, alright, I'm out. Completionist completed. Like, things take time, like, not everything is just this fluent thing where you just pick it up as soon as it drops in your hands, and then you can decide immediately. Like, okay, I remember I had this friend, like a few years ago, like 5 years ago. We'll call him Jack, and because that's his name. So one day, it was what was it, like 2019 maybe, I don't know. And Tyler the Creator released Igor, and literally within the first 10 minutes of the album being out, Jack messaged me. He's like, dude, you hear that new album? And I'm like, yeah, I'm listening right now. He's like, it's kind of trash. And it's like, okay, Jack, you're like, you're a young buck, I get it, like, it's fine. I mean, I didn't think that kind of thing then, but I do remember when he said that, I was just a little off put. I was like, really? Like, you already came to a discernment about it. Things just aren't that simple. And breaking art down doesn't really help. You know, it doesn't help determine something's likelihood of being liked. I don't really agree with that, because there's so much, like, in that, I guess in that light, there's like so much garbage out there that is like somehow amazing, or like the opposite. There's so much shit that's like technically great, but it's like fucking stupid. So it's just like I said, like what I just said, nil. Just, when you're taking art in, you got to realize like it wasn't up to you, and you got to trust that the person who created this like definitely knows what they're doing. you know, you got to realize that. Like, they didn't just make that song in like a week or a weekend, and just was like, oh, that's good, fucking ship it. It's like, no, that's not. We're not. Not everyone's fucking Ariana Grande. So, like, most people aren't. Most people will work. A lot of people will work tirelessly and tooth and nail, blood, sweat, and queefs to, come out with something, produce something that they, I should say, create something that is, satisfactory to them. And, at least in my eyes, when I create shit, I'm never really thinking that much about who's gonna like it. So, but that's what's interesting about this is like, to kind of like circle back. Part of what I'm saying is like, throughout this process, I've had a lot of moments where I am thinking about things and then I realize that like I'm the only one who cares. Not only that, it's not really as if, I'm this spiffy Christmas tradition thing is like some sort of fucking hit. It's not. Like, I could release it. I mean, I could not release it and no one would probably say a thing, including me. But the funny thing, like, the reality is, like, I've been doing it for 9 years. 9 years now. More like 5 years intentionally. Like, it was around 2019 where I somehow just like decided to make it like this more grandiose thing, and all the other times were like flukes. There was only 1 year out of the last 9 years that I released it not on the 24th, and this will be the second. So, that is the kind of thing that bothers me a lot, because I just like traditions that I make up in my head. So it's like an OCD thing. It's like when I want to do something, it just like it becomes an obsession for me, and I can't even like communicate it to people either. Like, I have had like a couple sort of friends of mine this year actually kind of like almost kind of like coaxing me to just not do it. Which I found that pretty annoying, because it's like, do you think like that, like, this is the one thing that I do want to do every year? Besides that, I'm just like fucking sitting around, fucking despondent, and then the year starts coming to an end, and all that shit's made up, but in my head, I see the 24 on the calendar, and it just clicks. It resonates with me to have done the thing that I've been doing for the last 9 years. It's my own made up tradition that I have cultivated, and it's become really important. So I've had a couple years where I'm like just torturing myself, like I remember 2022 was a particularly awful year for that. Um, and I guess you could say it's pretty unhealthy. Um, but it's just who I am. It's just like I'm sure parts of me in that regard could be better, and I will strive for that. But like the truth, the reality is like, if it's the one thing you hold yourself to in a year, the one thing you are responsible for, like, how can you fuck that up? That's the way I view it. It's like I had a whole year to do this, and I still was late. Um, and the more important bit beyond being late is I'm not sure if I'm releasing something that I'm totally 100% uh like okay with. Like the state, I got to a point in the edit where it was at the end, and I was still wondering if I'd be able to get it out on the day of, which is yesterday. And there was still like 10 more seconds in the song, and the song fades out. And I was adding stuff, and I was like, dude, I can't do this. And then, and I was looking at the stuff I was adding, and it was getting it was looking kind of rough. And so I made a quick decision to fade the song out earlier. And that kind of thing really bothers me. And at this moment I haven't even seen what that looks like, so I might have to re-render the whole thing. I mean, at the end of the day, um, if this render finishes and it's like good, I mean, if it has a problem and I'm just not happy with the way it ends, then it's just not coming out today. I'll go back in, and I don't care what day it releases. Like, it's definitely important to me that I'm at least happy with the result, or else what's the point? And beyond that, this was an edit that has been in my mind for at least 2 to 3 years. This is one of the most important songs to me, and I don't know if it's my best anything. I gave up on trying to discern what my best work is, like over 5 years ago, because I have a lot of stuff that I've done that I liked. I mean, last year's I think was my peak. Maybe not my peak of creativity by any means, but last year's edit was like particularly flawless. I don't even remember there being that much stress or tension associated with it either. Um, it was just a great edit. It flowed perfectly, and it was one of the only edits I've ever released where I look at it even like a year down the line, and I'm looking at it and I'm just like, yeah, I don't even know what I would change about this. It's really like so close to perfect. It's like most of it is exactly what I wanted. But this one is, uh, as far as I can, as far as it seems like this one is pretty solid. And again, it's like, no one's even gonna know that the song is cut off. No one's gonna know that what I did was half intentional. That's what's interesting about it. I mean, you'll know now if you're listening to this, but I guess that's just what's interesting about art, is like you could actually give up or make something that you think sucks dick, and but in general, like other people will probably like it or not, and it's like it's just it's a total separation. An album I really like is, I think it's called 3:15:20. I think that's what it's called. Childish Gambino. And I didn't even know this until this year, but that album was actually unfinished. It was unmastered, which who cares? But it was unmastered, and a lot of the elements, I guess, were just not even there. So I didn't realize it, but it was like his quitting, quote unquote, quitting album or some shit. I started to really fall in love with that album the last couple of years, and it's not exactly in my wheelhouse, necessarily, but I really started to like it a lot. And then this year he re-released it with a new title and removed some of the songs and changed some of the songs and did a master. And you can't listen to the old version on Spotify anymore. It's still out there. I think I have a download of it. I think it's on YouTube. The raw version, which I personally prefer way more. So there you go. It's like he wasn't happy with that to the point where he would rather take it away from thousands of people's ears and replace it with something that's like refined in his eyes. Like it's important enough to him. And it's like, as an artist, that's, I guess, you should have that right. But at the same time, it's like when you put something out, it's like not yours anymore. If you create something and then you put it out into the world, you're resigning your rights. There are none in the first place. It's everyone's. Which is why the internet is sometimes good. Because I can go get that and keep it on my computer until my hard drive dies. Or until, I'm 60 and and it doesn't matter anymore. It's been a running theme this year for me personally, is this whole nothing lasts forever shit. I've had a lot of losses this year, both like physical and just whatever else, like emotional. I've had to cut ties with like a ton of shit, and my life got like flopped on its ass like multiple times. And what's funny is like my most recent tragedy, so to speak, is probably related to this edit. Like me doing this edit the way I did it may have fucked my life up just a little more than it already was. Funny. But, with that kind of thing, I guess I have literally no choice. I mean, I'm not gonna like kill myself or something. But I do feel pretty despondent as of late. Like, I've been actually worrying beyond this edit. What am I gonna do with my life now? Like, I feel like so much has changed that me looking forward to creating this edit has actually been like really distractive in a way where I'm wondering what it's going to look like for me tomorrow when I wake up and I suddenly have no direction. So I am it's on the theme of my whole life is flip, turn, upside down, brah. And, I'm not going to bother, like, going into it any more than that, but suffice to say, like, my whole life has changed in a lot of ways that are very specific to me. So, I'm going to start learning 3D. I am 10 years, I am a 10 years in the making 3D generalist. I'm going to start learning 3D. And I'm gonna learn Japanese, and I'm gonna learn how to draw and paint. That one's gonna be a little less like of a learning. Well, it's not, but it's like I don't know if I like looking at it like that. But I am gonna pursue that, and I'm gonna edit more. I'm actually going to collaborate with a couple of other editors, the like two others that I know, and yeah, I'm excited for that. So just in respect to the stuff that I make, like a Spiffy Christmas, I have other things that I'm gonna be pursuing. I don't really feel like mentioning anything else, but I think the reason why I mention those few things is because they all pertain to, like, I kind of want to learn to draw because, I think that would be a useful skill to have in life and to have for editing, or beyond that, like just drawing itself. And so next year is like software learning year. That's another thing about this edit that's fucking wild, is I had like 1 day deadline. It must have been, I think it was the 23rd, maybe the 24th, and I wanted to do this scene with I wanted to do this scene with daisies, and I was like, okay, well, the most logical way I can think is to use Blender and learn like some kind of floral, modeling, whatever needs to be done, procedural, whatever. And I waited until basically the day of that it was supposed to release to learn how to make flowers in Blender. And I gotta say, it was fucking fun. I was gonna say hard, but it was really fun. And I didn't end up doing it. I got like 90% through a tutorial that was like an hour long. And the whole time I was just thinking, dude, this is crazy how I decided to learn a very pivotal skill that takes people months and years to learn. I'm just trying to nab one giant hunk of information in 1 day, in 1 hour, just to try to get what I need. Which, it's so weird what this kind of thing has done to me, because I'm never that kind of person. Like, I'm never the kind of person who would only just take what knowledge I need just to get through, I'm always interested in, like, learning and not being like particular or greedy about it. I just want to learn. But this edit has had me doing stuff like, I wrote some of the lyrics in Japanese, and a lot of it was I had a help from Neko, who has been learning Japanese for a couple of years, and he just kind of, like, I asked him to interpret the lyrics into English, and then I already had a version from the internet, but I wanted to see what he would come up with, because, like, I'm sure it's like it's interpretable in the same way that when you put something into Google Translate just comes up with whatever fucking like dialect I guess they think the robot thinks is best. So I just gave him the lyrics in Japanese, and I said, like, I already have the translation here, but, like, I just want to see if you come up with slightly different words for things or whatever. And he came up with a really nice thing. And then in the end, I just decided I'm just gonna go with the one that I already had. Like I thought the words were prettier. But again, like I put Japanese lyrics, and I don't know any Japanese. I certainly don't know like the Japanese alphabet, hiragana, and the fuck is the other one? I don't know. So usually I'm the type of person like I wouldn't have done that unless I knew Japanese. But I guess it was just something that I like compromised twice. Like I compromised in the regard of that I wanted to do it, so I did it, and then I compromised in the regard of like any potential inaccuracies that I would be totally unaware of. But I asked Neko to review it the way it was written out, and he generally approved. And then he had a little tiny critique about it, and I didn't change it. I just didn't have time. Like I didn't let myself have enough time. So, um, yeah, I learned a lot though. Like I'm not in some fucking like whatever you want to call it. Like I'm not in a frenzy over. I don't know. I'm not as reactive or full of life, I guess, as I used to be. So I'm not in like some frenzy about not having finished it on the day. Because as obsessive as I am, it's like whatever. At least it's fucking. At least I did it, and I'm actually really proud of myself because I basically did most of it in 2 days. So when you're watching it, if you're watching it, just keep say that like, oh, this part sucks. It's not flowy, but he did it in 2 days, bitch. Okay, whatever. So, yep. Well, and I learned a lot of things. That's also why I'm not too dissatisfied, is because I find it interesting that I feel as though I have learned particular things that I probably wouldn't have learned if I had taken my time. Like, I think there's some kind of merit about, you know, on the job training, right? Or, working under pressure, or great pain, great art comes from great pain. All those things have been previously applicable for me. Pretty much every year since 2020 has been like miserable for me, and the edit process for each one of those years has been pretty fucking miserable. And some years it has had me like genuinely ripping my hair out, like like hyperventilating, crying, like doing that, like convulsing. I mean, like I get like this tickle cry in my chest. I'm like, dude, I'm never gonna finish this, bro. I'm never gonna do it in time. And I realized this year that all those years, save 2020, I just got lucky. Because, when you crunch stuff, you can't control all of your elements. You just can't. Some things are gonna happen that are gonna fuck your operation, and a lot of it is also just gonna be you. Like, it must have been September, and I was thinking about this edit, and I was thinking, this year I'm beating this edit to the punch, and by the time December rolls around, I'll already be done. And my plan was to do it during October. And I even told my friend, I was like, yeah, I'm going to start working on this soon, so can't talk, sorry, bye. I don't know. Probably not, but anyway, October rolled by, and November was a very, very not a fun month. It was very rough. I had some family issues And then there was also just holidays, and for the just like Thanksgiving, and just I don't know. I was just waltzing around like my living room, and I kept thinking about the edit, and I'm like, I'm okay. Like, I mean, I guess I'll go up and start it, and okay, I'm gonna start it tomorrow, and no, tomorrow, and then it's always just ends up being like the week of that I put in the most work. And that's what's interesting about it is like, to me it seems like every year where I crunch it for a week and rush it, I do believe that has accentuated the quality, and in a couple ways has maybe hurt the quality for some of the edits. But I think for the most part, like, usually it's the 23rd and I click render and I wake up in the morning and there's no render errors, and I watch it and I'm just like overcome with like gratitude. I'm just like, man, dude. Like, I remember, I think the last couple of years I was actually like super nervous. Like, I was like, my heart was going because when I'd wake up at like 3, when I'd hear the After Effects go bleep, render finished, and I sit down in my chair and I'm like my knee is going, and I might as well be chomping on my nails or whatever, and because I just don't want there to be any fuck ups that I missed, that I'm gonna have to redo the whole render. So yeah, some people may be listening to this and they're like, dude, this guy needs a job. I don't know. I got no comment, really. What if? Yeah, probably. But I mean, regardless of whatever I say and how obsessive or retarded it, or just maybe childish it may sound, it's like at the end of the day, I think I just have a different kind of resolve than other people. It's like when I want to do something, if I even get an inkling, like if I want to do something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Like, I don't care what I have to go through. I don't care how long or how difficult it is. It's almost as if the challenge is the enticing aspect. But I don't know. Because for this edit, when I saw it in my head before I made it, I remember thinking, oh man, I'm going to have to like learn Blender for that part. And I just, at the time, that's like months in advance. And at the time, I just shrugged my shoulders. I'm like, that should be easy. And then I'm doing it like like 3 days before it's supposed to come. It's like, you're not supposed to learn stuff like that. That's pretty fucked up. Fucking Blender. I even opened up Cinema 4D. I wanted to do. There were things that I just couldn't do. There are a couple things I just couldn't do. I'm sure I could have done them if I would have had, a month or a year to actually learn the fucking software and understand it. Then I wouldn't even need to look it up or something, So, yeah, I was messing around in Blender, and it was a really cool tutorial from this German fella, and it was a field of daisies, and we were using the Blender node system, I think it's called. I don't think Blender used to have that like a few years back, but that was like a whole big uproar about what makes it so much better now. I think something like that. I think they had adopted that new style of whatever you want to call that, and I was just, man, I you should see. I can put screenshots of like what it looks like. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, I mean, to probably maybe the average Blender user who has ever opened the software, it might not look like much, but what I was doing yesterday, I was so surprised, like, at, like, the sheer amount of shit that you have to do just to make, like, one thing. Uh, and there's all these fucking nodes and wires that connect. It's like, I mean, it's literal, like, visual programming. It's fucking insane. And afterwards, I was just thinking, man, Blender is like so, with After Effects, I know it, but it's not like I know After Effects formally. When I want to make like a shape in After Effects, the first thing I'll probably do is I'll just think, okay, solid. I just add a solid, and then maybe I either shape it from there, or I'm just good with like a square for whatever I want to do. Usually I don't need something super complex. All right, and then I start lining it up and I apply an effect and I realize like, oh, that effect's not going to work with this kind of layer. Okay, let's try a shape layer. Okay, that's not going to work. Maybe like an adjustment layer on top of the thing. Maybe that'll work. Everything is like trial and error, and I don't really totally know what I'm doing because there's so much. And Blender is like that times a million. Like, there is fucking shitloads of different nodes, I guess they're called. I was just adding like all these things, like there's switches and switches. there was just, I'll put the screenshot. There was so many fucking things. It was mind blowing. And there's grouping. You can like put all nodes in one group and then sort of parent or attach that group to another. And all the systems are like linked to each other. It's like a game of like Electrician almost. It's incredible. And it really is interesting too to watch like what you're creating unfold, and you're like, wow, I don't know how this is working, but it is. And so yeah, that's how I'm gonna be spending next year. I'm gonna learn Blender, Cinema 4D, and if I can get my hands on a nice slick copy of Houdini. I always view Houdini as like the ultimate particle and fluids simulation software. So I want to. Houdini is ridiculous, and I've tried getting it before, but it's to no avail. And so, maybe if I happen to have like an extra, $10,000 or some shit burning a hole in my pocket in the next 12 months, then maybe I'll just pick it up that way. I doubt it, but for the moment, I'm just gonna start with Blender, and I think it's gonna be fun, and I hope that, at the moment, the whole idea is like, okay, I don't really know why I want to learn Blender. I just think it's cool. But I know that the direct use case is like it applies to editing. Like I can use stuff I make out of software in software. Like that's cool. I can have a workflow that's not just based in one program. I used to have something like that when I was like 14. I used to, like, for motion tracking, I used to use a program called Buju. I think it was like an industry grade, probably, maybe it still is. Industry grade probably for like the 2000s. Buju. I don't remember how it works at all. But I used to motion track in that software horribly, and then I would like render it out as some kind of like frames or some kind of shit, and then import it into Cinema 4D, and then render that out as like a PNG sequence, and then put it all. And I just knew how to do all that when I was like 15, and I don't know how to do any of that now. But that's gonna change. Finally, I don't know if it was ever definitive in the past where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this. It was always like, yeah, I kind of want to do this, and I hope I do. But this year, I'm definitely that's where my I'm looking at the stars that I made, and that's the frame I'm at right now. That's what I'm looking at the stars, and that's what they're saying is next year is gonna be lots of hard work and tons of learning and dedication, and I have no idea why. But who knows? Maybe I can make a G Fuel commercial and you know, make like $3,000 and start living in Paris, like VX1K or something. um, yeah. So I guess I could talk like this for a long time. I'm pretty tired right now. you know, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm just talking. Someone said that they used to like listening to these yearly whatever. Just one person told me that, and he's told me it more than once, and I found it um kind of nice. I don't have a ton of shit to say usually anymore. Um, I don't know what this channel is gonna turn into, but I'm guessing I'll do some edits. At some point, I might just turn it into like more of a gaming thing. But I mean, I have other channels for that. You know, fucking, who cares? Um, yeah, I have some other channels. I have an old channel I've been thinking about restarting called Spiffy. Yeah. It's a channel I abandoned 9 years ago, and I was thinking about coming back when it's 10 years. But who cares? We'll round it. And if it wasn't already apparent, I have one more year of Spiffy Christmas, and then I am patting my hands of dust. I'm done. I mean, I might do another one the next year, because at that point there will be like no pressure. I'd rather end on 10 years than 11, because it's nicer. But I don't mind reprisals and stuff like that. I do have plenty of songs that I could use for sure that are very nice. This one I think was possibly the most important one, and I think I did pretty well. It means a lot to me. The song is very important. There's always a bit of a knot in my throat whenever I listen to this song. There's something about it that's so like perfectly epic and grandiose. Maybe would you call it a ballad? I don't even know what a ballad is. It just sounds like that word applies. It's just a beautiful song. What's funny is that song is off of an album that's super popular. It basically kickstarted the Japanese city pop Gen Z revolution. And that's the least, or I think it's the second least popular song on that album, which to me is just mind blowing. Maybe it's just because that song is quite the lingerer, you know. I'm a fan of that stuff. Like I am definitely, like I'm very patient and I'm very boring. So and I love prog, so like I can wait for like delayed gratification always. I can wait through a whole song and really appreciate like the slow and drony fucking like sort of moggy bits. Like I realized that while I was editing this, is like there is a whole lot of nothing going on in this song, but it really is still very pretty. When you're listening to it, it's a lot like one of those songs that's just like a lot like listening to glitter. You know, it's very glittery. Great song. Um, yep. It was. It's a good. It's good. I think. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. Yep. I don't know. I'm kind of washing my hands of it. Like, I think for the most part, I'm happy with it. So if there's something wrong in the render, I might just say, oh well. Like this is just a part of a lesson that I learned of, you know, I should have just I should have just let myself have more time to do it. That's the long and the short of it. I'm not. I don't know if I'd say I'm regretful. Like I said, I feel like I've learned certain things that I wouldn't have learned if I had taken more time. It really thrust me into like certain situations and mindsets, and it's nice. So I don't know if I'd have it any other way. But I will say that my biggest quip is that um, I cut off the end of the song where I clearly could have kept going, but I just didn't feel it. I could visualize it in my head, but I just didn't like. I could visualize the movement in my head, but I just couldn't find a way. Like I didn't see how I would be able to replicate it, and I just thought that it was like. By that point in the edit, it was like everything had been exhausted and my efforts had been exhausted, and I didn't have any more to add. So I just kind of faded everything out. And, that whole entire second half of the edit was done basically yesterday. So, I'm not going to act like I'm not proud of that. I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so I've been thinking about making like a Minecraft series on. Well, I have a Minecraft series on one of my other channels that's not really discussed, and I keep it. I guess I can tend to keep stuff like that pretty detached, but because I like the alias identity thing of just being able to start anew with a whole new vibe thing and just live in that. See, like my other channels have more personality. They have more like of me in it, and this channel is just like a relic. And so really part of the life cycle is like I'm trying to reconcile that and how do I actually make this channel important again. Channels. The other channel I have is called Epic Magic Man, and I make like somewhat low effort, just like very what you might call traditional let's plays. I just play games and I talk. Some of the videos are actually really cool though. Like some of them I've really come to be proud of in the way of like sometimes I'm saying things that I really am glad that I articulated in whatever way. It's kind of like it can get kind of sentimental and heartfelt, and it has its own like tinge of artistic expression for sure. but it's also just gaming and laughing and saying nigga and, you know, eating cheese for a living. Shit, I could make this like 3 hours, I'm sure, while simultaneously saying that I don't have much to say. But it's like, you know, I can ramble on about nothing for forever. So I guess in that light, yeah, sure, I have tons of shit to say. A whole lot of nothing. Um, if you watch Spiffy Christmas, because you know this video is not coming out till I don't know when, like the 31st. I don't know. Whatever day's the last day ever. And you know, so yeah, if you watched it and or liked it, whatever, good for you, and thanks for. I'm staring at the word honor on the MW3 clip. So thank you for honoring my, I guess, grips to keep this train running. Sometimes I stumble and fall, and I'm not perfect at all. I'm fucking literally a droog. I'm like a hoodlum rat, bottom of the barrel, piece of shit. But occasionally I set my mind to something and I fucking try my dick off. And yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle to capture that with others. Like people, yeah, I touched on that. People, this year, it's almost like people have been waving me from doing it, you know. And I feel like it's good, I guess, that they're looking out for me because I think they realize that it's a heavy burden that I attach myself to. So fucking no life. But I was thinking about it today. I think, or I guess at the end of yesterday, I was thinking about it, and I was just thinking to myself, yeah, I mean, people just are never. No one's ever gonna understand like I do. That's just how it is. Like you know, sometimes you can't just go through life without zero discomfort. And sometimes you even have to like thrust yourself into it. So, you know, maybe you could say I'm something of like a starving artist. Like I don't help myself at all. And I definitely like torture myself in almost like this fucking medieval, like, I don't know the words, but it's maybe a word Louis C.K. would use when describing something like old and evil. Macabre. I don't know if that's the right word. Machiavellian. Those are the words he uses. Yeah, you know, it's like almost this image of me, like maybe in my head I have this image where I'm like uh who is whatever, like Beethoven or something. Like who said this? I'm trying to think of like a quote. I can't remember who said this. Something about like Beethoven like pouring water over his head, like trying to hammer out hammer out this thing. Yeah. Yeah, not to say I'm great or anything. Maybe there's ego attached to that. I don't know. I don't I don't like to think about that, and not in those terms. I don't think I'm great. Definitely don't. Or, you know, I don't think I'm like Beethoven. I'm just trying to say that like I am very I'm very like rigorous and like gritty about the way my passion for stuff. Like I will literally fucking like I will die. I will fucking die to do some things. Just like sometimes I literally say to myself like I will do this or die trying. Like I definitely feel as though I embody um that kind of mindset. Like when I want to do a thing, I it's happening some way or another. It might not be perfect, it might be late, it might not be the most amazing thing ever, but you know, I started viewing this yearly thing as quite a big deal, and it's hard to just like it's hard to kind of convey that to anyone else. This sense of like self responsibility that you become like upset or disappointed in yourself if you can't meet um, your own expectation, I guess. It's just a silly edit. It's no biggie. But it is though. Like I said, I think I said this. I have this resolve about it. Like it was like it must have been like 2021 I did a video and just kind of saying like, yeah, you know, editing is and COD is like silly and kind of ridiculous and stupid, but at the same time it's art just like anything else. Um it's difficult as fuck. It's really fucking hard. It takes literally dozens and sometimes hundreds of hours. I don't know how long. I don't know how many hours this edit took, but here I can actually crunch. Like here's a vague estimate. If I open up the project file and look at my autosaves, for 2023 I had 522 autosaves, and it saves every 2 minutes. So watch, it's gonna come out to like 2 hours. Autosaves every 2 minutes, so 2 times 500 is 1,000 minutes. So that's 16 hours or so, right? Am I doing that right? I learned a tiny bit of math this year inadvertently. So, and that's just I would say that's way more of an estimate. You know, sometimes you're rendering like pre-rendering, and so it doesn't autosave, or sometimes it just doesn't autosave. I don't think it even autosaves when your window isn't active. So for this year, I have 1,100 autosaves. It might actually be my most. So that's, you know, more along the lines of like 30 hours, right? Yeah. Something like that. It actually feels like more than that. But then again, it's like it's been like a week. So how much can you do? So this is getting maybe a little dumb. I am a really weird artist, and my goal is to become less like more weird and less weird. I want to create something that's a little more like composite of my own doing, rather than just the subject matter being a gaming clip. Which it's like, you know, I say that, but you know, I'm a proponent for it more than most, I think, because you know, back in the day when I was a part of like the COD community and in teams and shit, that was like a joke. You know, it was like that was like a make fun of a bull thing. like mockable. If someone treats it like a little more than a hobby, you'd get like laughed at. Dude thinks like video games are art. It's like, what? Looking back at that, it's like, you think they're not? That's literally all they are. And yeah, it's, I mean, what? I'm syncing clips to a song about love and, you know, longing, yearning, heartbreak to Call of Duty shooting. But at the same time, like, I feel like if you can't watch this edit and feel like, oh wow, this is actually really beautiful, there's something about it. Like maybe you just like the grain, maybe you like the blur, or just like some of the movements, and you realize that it's like way more than just. It becomes way more of a cohesive thing, like a song or a movie. So I don't really need to fucking explain that, but that's what I'm trying to. I'm explaining it, but I say that, you know, while also reiterating that I have resolve about. Yeah, I'm a weird person, and that is how I. That's how I am artistic, is through Call of Duty games that are 10 years old. But we are not done. Try to get bitches with that fucking resume. What they probably would want to hear is like, I have a job at Pizza Hut. I don't make anything, I just make pizza. It's already pre-made. And they throw themselves at you. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so it's been a long time. Hey man, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. If anyone actually listened to this entire thing, cool man. If you want to hear more talking, or if you want to talk to me, I have other channels. I have Epic Magic Man. You can look that up. I imagine it would probably be the first result. I just have like fucking 5 subscribers. And yeah. Other than that, you know, I'll let you have that seed, but I'll keep the other ones to myself. And, you know, regardless of that, I will try to think of what to do with this channel, because I definitely want to do something with it. I don't like, you know, I like reprisals, you know, I like not just leaving shit to die. You know, if I hold on to something for long enough, I'm going to want to revisit it. So I definitely think that for once this year will be different than all the others. I will be more equipped to post stuff and create things. I have a friend of mine, Benny, I'm gonna be collaborating with him probably, and we're gonna make some really nice art. And then maybe one other friend of mine, we're gonna make some things, and I'm gonna make some things by myself. And yeah, we'll just see where it goes. I hope it goes somewhere. Because I do know that, like, especially after like today and yesterday, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I can see how the last Spiffy Christmas next year will be the last one, because I don't know how much longer I can do this anyway. Like, it's something I like the idea of doing, but when I'm actually doing it, it always ends up being a struggle, and it makes me like hate myself. Um, Even though I'm very glad, I end up being very glad that I do it. So I don't know how to reconcile that, but you know, I love editing. I love editing so much. It's really, really a wonderful thing. Just like, tampering with frames. That's all it is. But it's so cool. And it's so cool how you can like turn like a video of like nothing into like suddenly it just has like some kind of accentuation to it. Like sometimes on my other channel I'll just make a gaming video and I'll just do like one little edit where I add like a text, and for like it's just lol text Arial font. And whenever I watch back the video or something, for some reason I'm like so pleased with that. Like just the fact that I intuitively put something there, it really brings me joy. It's very strange, but I absolutely love editing so much. Um, it's one of my favorite things, and I honestly that's what's kind of sucks about it. It's like I just, in terms of art and stuff, it's like I don't really think I could see myself doing that much other shit. Like, I know some dudes who were editors in the community went on to actually make it their career. Like, I think there's this guy, Kazi, who works on, like, video game cinematic trailers and, movies and shit. Like, fucking Jurassic Park, Jurassic whatever. I haven't been on his channel in years, but last I saw, he made some really cool shit, and I was like, how the fuck did he do that? And he did that all by himself, or like as a part of a team? And I don't think I could do that because when I create stuff, it's always like with a vision in my head, um, how I want it to look. And so I don't know if like as an artist, if I could like work for a company or whatever, unless it was like super mutual that I'm gonna do like and agreed upon about what I'm gonna do, and that I'm already I'm interested in what I'm doing. Like I could make a G Fuel ad. I could reach out to someone and make like a fucking like a bifocals render and get like $20 or something. Like I could do that because I think it would be kind of fun. Not because it has like that much artistic merit to uh, do art in exchange for money, which I think is asinine. But I'll still kind of do it. Disgruntingly. But I don't mind like arrangements like that. I did an edit earlier this year in like January, and that was a fucking struggle too. That was really that was a tough time, and that was also like a due date type deal. And I did an edit for one of my friends who was also like commissioning me for it, and he ended up sending me $200 when I was done. Now, I don't know if that's a lot of money to you, but that's like a lot of money to me. That's a lot of money. And I was just like, dude, what the fuck? That's quite the wage. So, and it is true though. Like beyond that, what like I don't know if he cares or is aware or whatever. But it's like, as far as I'm aware, like the visual effects industry is a pretty fucking lucrative industry. Like I think they get overpaid like a shitload. So anyway, I've been talking long enough to where About a quarter of the edit is rendered. It all looks good so far. I already did a render and I woke up to a memory error, which I've never had that before. So there's not enough memory to render. What the fuck? Yeah, this year I'm looking into getting a new computer. I'm gonna build the best computer ever, and except it'll have Windows 11. That'll be the caveat. God, Windows 11 sucks too. I wish I could just keep using 10, but I probably can. I don't know. They're so fear-mongering about it. Literally everyone says like it's a horrible idea to just continue using it beyond its life support. Dude, if it were up to me, I'd still be using Vista. Everyone hated Windows Vista. I fucking liked it. It was cool. The little widgets thing on the side, it was very appealing. I love the sounds. Such a cool little OS. Yeah, at this point I'm just chilling, you know. I got no direction necessarily. I'm just talking. So if you want to go, you know. He probably went like 50 minutes ago. But, you know, hope you're well. And, you know, whoever you are, if you ever want to shoot me a chat, feel free. I don't mind. Like, I fucking hate people, but, you know, I'm good for a chat, man. I don't mind, like, making friends. So, you know, hang out and keep doing what you're doing. And, you know, if you create something, if there's any advice I can give, like if you create something, then just remember art is about, it's about being creative. It's not about making shit that's good or passable or looking at things in regards of standards, and it's not about money. And you I guess you could say that it's just not that way for you. Whatever. But you know, just never sell out, never sell yourself short. Create what you want to create. That's of the utmost importance. And, you know, if you have to compromise, that's life. But at the same time, you know, put your all into things, because we have way too much of people putting their least into things. You know, someone said to me recently that there's an oversaturation of music. And I thought, that's like a surface level thing to say, and it's like a cop-out, you know? Like, it doesn't hinder you, you know, not that much. It doesn't prevent you from creating something that you can put your 100% into and be proud of, and, you know, really make someone cry with your piano skills, you know, so to speak. You get what I'm saying. Put your all into something, or don't do it at all. Wait until you're going to dedicate your soul to it, because if you're not going to do that, then don't bother, because that is what we have enough of. We have an oversaturation of people who make shit that they don't care about. and too many people are focused on catering when it's like the most creative and integral artists out there that really just want to make what they make. Those are actually the people who soar above the rest. I guess it's some, I don't know if it's like a moral regard, but they're the people who shine, at least for me. Like when I see an artist who does like whatever they want and they barely even feel the need to like shill out to people like, "Hey man, I do whatever I want. I don't care." Like those are the best people. They have it all figured out. They don't even have to like explain it, explain themselves away, or uh, cope with it or anything. They just create, and they have no like they owe no one any explanation. So there's my, out of skillions of people out there, there's my uh, 2 cents, I guess, on creating art, because I figure it's important to at least say it once that, if you're gonna make something, like, please don't just like throw it together. And throwing things at the wall is not the same thing as throwing together an entire, you know creation that's supposed to embody you. It's not the same thing. Throwing things at the wall is like experimenting and owning and accepting what sticks. Showing like restraint. Like a lot of times with this edit, um, there were a lot of mistakes that were things that were happening not on purpose, but they went so well with the edit, and some of them were even like unorthodox, and they didn't make a ton of sense. But I had this like restraint to not tamper with it. Like there were some clips I placed and I barely touched them, and they synced up with the song perfectly, and I'm like, oh, but it doesn't, like, the movement's not right. And I was just like, well, fuck it. Like that's my touch. That's my touch that I'm adding, is making the choice to not fuck with this. You gotta own your nuances. And don't go to art school. That's dumb. Fuck you if you do that. Don't go to music school. That's the same thing. And don't shill yourself for money. You're more than that. Even if you're a cocksucking piece of shit, I guarantee you're definitely worth more than a shilling. Than one shilling you find on the ground in London. So it's a disservice to oneself. Don't do it for the money. Do it for the queefs. Spiffy out. Billie Eilish. Same year, same interview, same day, sane, vicious vision. You should see where I'm at right now. Who are you, anyway? You. Ah. It might be foolish not to say that all around me right now is new life. In relative terms, I guess, to the average human. But saplings of 1 year to 5. I could see many anew, and some kind of spaceship taking off in the distance, and a crow. Probably one of my old teachers or something. I was talking to a dear friend of mine last night, and I think by last night I mean like 6 a.m. It's been a lot of that. Been a lot of. It's actually I think it's been a little while, but we're back on the backwards sleep stasis. It's somewhat necessary for this current time, but yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes. I have this wonderful friend in my life, and he's been a good energy, I guess, throughout maybe the last half year. I don't know. Time's been going, right? Yeah. And even just as I was clearing space off of my phone to make this, I probably shouldn't even be doing this, but I took some previous recording off of my phone that was like 100 megabytes, and I clicked on the file, and it was a voice recording, and it was 3 hours long. And I can imagine what it was, but the point is that it was 100 megabytes. That's amazing. How is my phone always full? And these voice recordings are so small. Well, maybe if anything is to be written about that, it's that I at least spend more time doing than saying. That's good, I guess. I mean, I always imagine it's the opposite. I only wish it were under better circumstances. Talking to my friend, and we're both. He's a wonderful artist. He's a wonderful mind. It's brilliant, I would say. And the subject of, well, one of my projects that I've been working on for the last 10 years, I guess, came up. We were talking about it, and I was talking about, motivation and crunching before due dates and pressure and the flow of ideas, all sorts of shit. And I don't remember how we got on the topic, but it became about something about him saying, yeah, you seem to be doing well. Something like that, he said. And, my first instinct was to kind of immediately respond by, vocally diagnosing that. Yeah, I guess I feel like I'm doing well with it. And it's a yearly thing at this point. It's a yearly thing. It's every year on the 24th of December. I work really, really hard for about 1 to 2 weeks to a month, or maybe sometimes a couple of months. And I create this thing that I guess is supposed to embody in kind of a silly little way, kind of supposed to embody. I don't know. I guess just maybe my feelings on the year. One might say. I won't. Oh, I just did. Anyway. Well, some of my closer friends understand that this is somehow become quite something of a burden in my life. It's something that I really struggled to, I guess, reconcile with. It always seems to go the same way. It's like, I'm doing this thing annually, and whenever the time starts coming around, I start thinking about it, and I get excited, and then not too far after, I get a little bit disillusioned and thinking, yeah, this is going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a big project. It's going to be tough. I have this vision, I get excited about it, and then it just becomes about brute forcing myself to get this thing done in time, usually somewhat in advance, and then I get it out of my system. Well, I started going over the last couple of years, just kind of, just basic. And he was listening, and I started by saying, in 2020, I was late. 2022, I had a girlfriend, and I think we were having our first major, dispute, and it was it was over I think it was over alcohol or something. I don't even really remember. Geez, maybe I should. Something about I think it was something about she was getting drunk and saying she was tipsy, and then kind of just frantically texting me these just ridiculous things, just increasingly ridiculous stuff, just really I don't know, I don't want to say manic, but just things that made me feel like she wasn't being kind of herself. And so, I don't know, there was this whole thing about, okay, call out, and then a fight, and then a realization, and then a reconciliation, and then a compromise, and then this and that, and that whole time I was working on this project totally alone. I wasn't totally alone, but I certainly was pressing on alone. And geez, yeah, that year must have been a breeze. I have kind of the least memory of that one. Then in 2022, it was basically the same story. Fucking same girl broke up with or something, and then could have been a month prior or whatever, and I start working on this thing, and this thing is really kind of a downtrodden project. It was fucked from the start, you could say. I still too consider it like the you could like the ugly duckling or something, the black sheep of all of the iterations I've made. But I watched it the other day, and I feel like for the first time I watched it and I had like kind eyes about it. I wasn't as cruel to it. I feel like I understood like how I was feeling when I was making it. And instead of taking away, I gave myself a little credit. And in 2023, believe it or not, it was the same story. Story fucking Matthews. Yeah, well, I don't need to say it for the third time. But it involved, well, let's say someone who isn't a guy. Yeah, well, anyway. What was interesting is, as I was explaining this to him, just, very basic. I wasn't, like, going in depth. It was like a 45-second talk where I was just like, yeah, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. And this year, I noticed that it's basically the same shit, except, it's not, like, quite... And sometimes, geez, now I'm thinking about it, it's like, wait, did we break up last month? Fucking attribute that to whatever. It's because my mind is fucking gone. I don't think, I don't know. Sometimes I'm sitting out here in the trees and the sticks, and I'm thinking, geez, is my mind ever like coming back to me? That's a lie. I'm never out in the sticks thinking that. Usually I'm out in the sticks feeling pretty good. I'm feeling like, man, this is where it's at. This is where I belong. It's like there's actual like peace. And you still have all that shit, but somehow it's almost like it's levitating above you or around you, just emanating. It's like you're not receiving it alone. Well, so by the time I was done with this little talk, my friend here was already kind of like, he was doing his aka, he thought that I was blaming my ex-girlfriend for all of the struggles that I've had. And it made me feel that for a second, though. Because I had to say it out loud, and I, I thought I was telling him, but I realized I was telling myself in that moment. Like, damn. So, like, the last actual 3 years have really been a struggle just because of my relationship. That really makes it sound like a lot more tumultuous than I would be willing to give it credit for now, I'd say. It's not that it wasn't, gritty. It is and still is. I think I'm a pretty tortured person, like I don't know, man, my there's something about me when shit happens to me, I just hang on to it. I just can't let it go. You know? Jeez, I had a girlfriend when I was like, I must have been like 16. And I had this girlfriend named Summer. And it was during the summer. And we met, and honestly, I had no idea who this bitch was. But she just started sitting at our lunch table and somehow knowing all my friends. I just don't know how that happens, but... Then, I guess I found her on Facebook or something, and the stars aligned. She had a crush on someone, and it was fucking me. And, I had maybe, like, a couple girlfriends that were, like, almost like Corey and Topanga jokes compared to, for some reason, what I felt when I met this chick. I guess. And, well, you know, I was just confused, and I didn't know what I was doing, and, I was definitely not on this sort of nurturing side of life. So, it must have been like our second date, so to speak, and, we were sitting on the bleachers in the park, and I asked her if she loved me, and she didn't, like, answer immediately, and then I think I must have started, like, pouting a little, and then she's like, of course I do. It's just, like, two fucking kids, and I remember we broke up shortly after, and then one of my friends was like, dude, you asked her if she loves you on the second date. And I was like, and now I'm like looking back at that as I'm saying this out loud, I'm like, how did he know that? It's like, people talk, I don't know, whatever. But didn't realize, I just didn't know. I didn't know what I was fucking talking about. But, you know, I was a little on and off. I probably dated that chick for fucking collectively no more than a month, for all I would guess. And when we broke up, it literally, like, destroyed me. Like, I started getting this thing in my head that was telling me, like, at some point we're going to get back together, I'm sure. At some point it's going to happen. Just got to wait. Maybe it'll be a year, or it's going to happen. She's going to message or something like that, whatever. Something like that. And that must have lasted, like, years. And she fucking had, like, she was fucking all around town, dude. She was getting new boyfriends and shit. I mean, Jesus, when I was gonna date her, she had literally told me that, it was something like, if I didn't ask her out, then she was gonna ask out some other dude. Now, talk about boy meets world. That's typical, I guess. But, shit. But, you know, that was a root I just pulled out of the ground. How do you feel now? I just didn't know what love was, obviously. I don't even need to say that, I don't think. But you know, ooh, this one has acorns? Oh no. You just hear me toss it. Fucking useless. That's an acorn. Well, I know what an acorn is. Whatever. I'm sick of you guys judging me. Guys. Guys. Listen up, everybody. Here, so the point is, I am sensitive, I guess. I get affected by shit. I get, like, shell shock just from fucking walking around, I guess. It's just how I am. I wish I wasn't that way, but I'm obsessive, man, and I'm fucking crazy. Stay away from me. I'm like a trap. If you date me, I won't ever feel the end of it. And I won't bother you or anything, but like I will constantly be thinking of you. I'm sat here on the ground right now, and I just was picking at a root, and I just noticed there's shit right there. But I'll tell you what, it is nice. It is nice shit to be out here. It is nice. What a fucking year. I kind of wish, and you know, when I was a little younger, I was trying to detach myself from that. I really was, and now I've just given up. Because it's like, I guess you kind of can't. Maybe you can, but like, it's got to be way later in life, at least for me. I could self-diagnose that. I could guess that about myself. Like, I wish I didn't think, oh, what a year. I wish I would just think, like, in terms of maybe, like, the last 3 years, but not even know that's how long it's been. I wish I never learned dates and time. I don't want to fucking think about that shit anymore. I almost forgot my birthday. I got close. I think. I got close to forgetting. That would have been amazing. But, you know, you get older and then, like, you realize stuff like your parents aren't gonna cut the shit. That's for sure. And some of your bitch-ass friends won't. You know, they always have to fucking remind you when it's that time. What are you doing for Thanksgiving, bruh? Fuck you, man. Just fuck your whole dick. But now I'm excited for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Yeah, well. Am I breaking down or building up? I don't know. I guess it's both, right? Like everything, it's like it's either really, you can look at it as like either really funny or really sad. But yeah, well, the point I was trying to make, I guess, is that I'm a sensitive nigga, and I guess, and or I just, whatever. I maybe obsessive is even better. So I just hang on to shit. I can never let go. I'm always thinking in terms of like what should have happened. You did the wrong thing, man. You fucked it up. You fucked up what was supposed to be. And what I mean by supposed to be was like the logical thing. Like everyone should be like a little logical about things, but they never are. They never are. That is my problem too. Like, I walk around my house and bro, I fucking can't even stand my parents. I can't stand my family. They're all like, like it's mean, I guess, but it's like, dude, they're just like fucking 3 shades to the wind. They argue about nothing. And then when they talk about shit that's actually like vaguely important, it's like even more distressing because it's like you can't even argue about like ingredients in canned food, and now you're trying to talk about like abortion. You people know nothing. You don't know anything, I swear. And then it really just like extends to everybody. Like then I just think like, okay, well, why did my ex-girlfriend do blank 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 blank? Couldn't she have just not? Would have been smarter. Why did she have to be a dumbass? Why did my ex-best friend do blank 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 blank? Because he's a fucking idiot. That's basically it. Or was for all those times. And all the shit that I'm sure I've pulled. It's just humans, dude. They're hard. They're fucking hard to deal with. And so many of them are fucking goddamn stubborn, bro. Like, it's one thing to be set in your ways and shit, but, like, sometimes you meet people and they literally, like, you can't help people. You can't. That's one of the things that I really think that I realized this year is, like, you can't just, like, fix someone's life. You can't, like, Walter White somebody. Like, you can't Walter White someone's Jesse Pinkman. You just can't. You're never gonna fucking get through to them. If you want to help someone, or if you want to help, you feel like they're gonna be better off steered in a certain direction, it's like you're already fucking up. You're already fucking Hitler, dude. You just can't do it. People don't listen. They don't care. They just like they're people. They want to do what they want to do. It's not like it's fucking up for debate. They'll never tell you either. Like, I know that because I don't. But everything works itself out. Really. Did you know that Ethereum is down 9.5% to $3,530.58 in the last 23 hours period? The reason I'm recording this is because of a video I made. I think it's got to be going on like a year and a half, I think, ago. Getting skewed in the times, which is great news, because I was just bitching about it, but I just checked before I came out here, and it said something like July 23, and I was like, oh, so that was this year? Damn, it's only been 6 months since that. Nice. High five to myself, dude. I'm actually proud of that. That's so dope. See, we all grow. A man grows. And this beautiful pine sapling, oh my gosh. It's so tiny. It's like a little hairdo. It's just got this little tiny. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's right next to my leg, stroking me. It's stroking my leg. Oh, look at you. Love it. Yeah, well, I'm out of my own element here, but I'm in some others. And, this year is no less stressful because the thing that I was trying to communicate to my friend when I was saying that 45 seco is that it seems like every year around this time something like tragic happens to me, and I have to do this project, and that makes it all the more difficult to do. But sometimes it makes for a good result. But while I was saying that, he made me think that it was about my ex-girlfriend. And then I thought for a second, well, okay, I'm sure there's probably merit to that. I could throw some fruition in that direction of, yeah, that bitch made me fucking life my hard. Made my life difficult. Still does. But, and if you're listening to this, you too little too late, man. You're fucking wasting your time. Click off now. I actually don't want it. I don't want your ears. That would be a mistake. Which brings me to actually why I'm making this video, though. Because when I listened to 30 seconds of of that previous one, and I was actually a little bit perturbed with myself because I was making the video and I say so many things that are like I don't know if that video is supposed to be public, but it wasn't. Didn't turn out to be. And I was talking as if I was talking to somebody, and I think it's obvious that I kind of was, or maybe a couple people or a few. But gosh, that's crazy. It's crazy to be doing this. The nostalgia series. It's kind of cool, but it's also the epitome of contrival. Kind of no matter which way you slice it. So I don't know. What's the point? Nothing I can say will really get through to anything. Especially because it's just me saying it. It's actually not that impactful to say things. It's really not. I can say all the things, and or as many things as I can conjure in an hour or 3 hours. And you know what the truth is like, my ex-girlfriend can hear them and she can go, oh, but like still not really understand who I am, or like when the time comes for some kind of compromise or setback or struggle, no fruition or encouragement to those moments is ever given. It's just leave out the door, first sign of trouble, and make sure you cause a big fat old fucking scene while you're on your way out. And this really goes for a lot of people. I mean, it goes, of course, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. It goes for like everybody. Like, no one can ever really know you, obviously. And, saying a whole bunch of shit and then partially privatizing it, whatever this is. I gotta admit, I'm not morally opposed enough to not do it. I think I just like talking sometimes. Obviously, those times have dimmed. I don't like talking as much. But there was a moment where I liked talking. And it was nostalgic to talk. And then maybe a month later, look back on that talk and think, oh, here's just some disposable talking. Here you go, channel. The sun is warm. The day is cold. And something is shrieking over there. Maybe I should go interview it. But anyway, I do feel like I'm doing better this year. Although something very, very painful did happen to me about 2 weeks ago. And as much as I feel like the slew of things that keep happening to me every few months are helping me deal with things a bit better, because they just keep fucking coming. It is hard to it's hard to think about. It's hard to think about. And it's making everything difficult. And I'm actually a little scared for after I'm done with the project and I'm going to have to linger on this bad thing. I guess I should just stay busy. That really is, I guess, what you do, I thought I had it bad 2 months ago, but then a month went by, and then my mom had a heart attack, and then another month went by, and I lost like 5 years worth of memories. So yeah, it's like what's new month? What do you have for me? But and I should be in right now, getting more work done on this silly little project that for some reason I actually care so deeply about now. And it's to the point where any person other than me could probably just laugh, or is like internally laughing whenever they hear me talk about it. But I really do. I love it. It's like it really is like the most important thing to me. This year it feels a little. It's hard to feel good about anything right now. I have had a couple moments where I'm liking how it's feeling. But at this moment particularly, I'm outside in the sticks. In the middle of nowhere, where you can hear cars and sometimes planes. And I'm not really feeling super giddy to move forward, but I will. I do every single year, and I think that next year will likely be the last year that I hold myself to it, and then I'm going to move on with my life and start some new 10-year long project, or maybe it'll be like a 50-year long. Anyway, instead of being on Arma for 3 hours talking about how pathetic my relationship and love life is, and that's fucking schizophrenic, suicide baiting multitude of people. Actually, I'm just here to say, for once in the nostalgia, that I am doing better. I'm doing more well this time than I was last time, and the other 3 or so. Just like my friend so kindly pointed out. And I admitted openly in that moment that, yes, I am doing better at it this year. I'm feeling better about it this year. I'm even kind of feeling like if I'm late and I don't finish it, I might actually forgive myself and be okay with it. I'm not gonna, I think with that resolve, actually, with that amount of resolve, I actually respect myself enough to go and finish it actually early, like on purpose, just do the opposite. Like that in itself kind of is like pridefully motivating enough to work extra hard, which is interesting. You tell yourself you don't have to do it. That's when you want to. That's fucking, I guess it's partially how my mind works. And I'm fucking freezing, so I'm sure I'm gonna work real hard when I get inside. That's just how my mind works, yeah. But life update. Sometimes I've made these videos and I think, I hope she fucking sees this. And I'm gonna upload this and never think about it again. And at least the part of like uploading it. I'm sure I'll see the video, but I just feel as though the whole mysticism gimmick thing, it's getting old. And truth is sometimes I do have stuff to say, and I don't really feel like it's a means of self-reflection that is semi-public that I need to abandon. But I think it's almost like if you have to rely on someone to see a video of you talking to yourself, then what are you doing? So yeah, I am obviously not going to not be thinking of who will see this? Who's gonna hear this? Who cares? But this is a nostalgia series, dude. It's for my eyes only until your eyes. Flawed thinking? I don't know. I don't think I'm going to worry about it because right now I am in the most beautiful, lovely environment. And I feel as though I could not tell a lie even if I try. There's no possible way that I am being any less true to myself than 1,000,000% while I'm out here. So I think I trust myself to say that yes, I will make whatever I want with me in mind. Sometimes I will make a talking video. Sometimes I'll upload it unlisted to a playlist that someone has to magically find. Sometimes that is the intention. Sometimes it's just for little old me to know that it's there. Or to just to not care that it's public. That is the key word there, I guess, caring. Key motive. Well, if anyone ever does listen to this, even if it's me, like a year from now, I hope that you see a beautiful sight and that you smell fresh, cool air, and that at least once you can feast your eyes upon a beautiful skyline and feel at least an iota of warmth from the sun. And don't forget, the rainy days too are just as wonderful. And as I was saying that, the sun opened up just a crack in the sky and showered its love on me for just those few seconds. How to feel like I am doing something right. Thank you, son. Daughters. So, yeah, if this does reach ears other than my own, if you have thoughts about me or about anything I've said, try to put them out of your mind, honestly, because it's not even important. You know? This isn't that important. It's just a nostalgia series. You can't just live your life like basing it off of nostalgia. This is just a side gig. So just, you know, if you want to say hi or something, just say hi, or just fucking move on with your life and have a good day, have a good time. You know, sniffle a little, breathe some fucking air, and forget about this shit. You know, get out there and hug a goddamn tree. Seriously, it's way more important than anything. There's never a time where I wouldn't rather be doing that. It's where I belong.
I sure didn't know that was going to happen.
It just happened.
Yeah, it just happened.
It feels as though there are forces working against me. The tax man cometh. Long time ago, maybe 40 or maybe even like 60 years ago, the property that we live on today was not around. Just a patch of land and probably some woods that spanned off for some time. But at some point, maybe in the 70s or the 60s, maybe even the 50s. There was a man who lived not far from here. He farmed, I guess. Don't really know anything about him. Other than back in a time where instead of having a house for every house that we have on our street, it was every other house for a house. Well, I could tell because at some point our house appeared. I believe it was the late 70s. It was built by some guy, can't remember his name, and he built it, I think, in 1976. And then sold it to, I guess then he lived there for, 30 years. And then at the turn of the century, he sold us, our family, the house. And then he moved up north. I think he lives in a place called Russell. I've been up there once, and it's basically the same shit as here, except your ears pop. The man next door had a piece of property that was about the same size. East, about 50 yards east. $50 or $100, I don't know. And this house, it wasn't built yet. It hadn't been built. No garage, no second floor, no asphalt or cement. No doors, no windows. Siding. Not even a foundation. Not even a foundation. Back before this time, this man who lived at the time next door didn't obviously have, the term wasn't as applicable next door. Maybe next door to the house next door to us, or maybe next door to the next few houses. I don't know when all these were built. But when you look at it, like when I look at my neighbor's house, it doesn't look that old. It certainly doesn't look like it's been here since before ours. Anyway, so there's this big plot of land, either unclaimed or Maybe it was owned by this man. No house, no nothing. Just sort of a little plateau, just a valley. Just a small little valley, really. Just a hilly sort of terrain. Right along the water line. And I don't know if he owned the land or if he squatted on it or whatever, but I guess he was interested in going into some sort of business, some sort of tree business. I think he wanted to sell Christmas trees. So he used this plot of land as a springboard, I suppose. $50 to $60 ago, when nothing else was here, he must have bought up a bunch of seeds, or maybe he scavenged for them, and planted a whole column of, well, you could even say an array of western pine, maple, honey maple, mostly just the westerns. He planted them from the street down into the woods, and then sort of took a right turn and planted a whole nother column outward, all along the edge of what I can assume must have been a field, open field, just beyond some marshland. I assume he imagined that in about 10 or 15 years he will have had a pretty solid investment that he had quite literally planted the seed for years prior. Boy, I'm gonna come up off of these trees, man. Shit. But sadly, you could say, fast forward about 50, 60 years. Well, I guess fast forward about 40 or 50 years to the year 2000, and Mr. Russell was now an owner, an assembler of an estate on this land. Somehow the land was purchased, and done something with. My first memory as a human was of visibly seeing out the backseat window of our car. That's my earliest memory, as far back as I can recall. We were pulling up to this house, and I can remember, as ever, some shady, morphed image, probably very much skewed by all the years that would follow of seeing the same thing hundreds and hundreds of times in so many different contexts. Pulling up to our new home for the first time and being curious about, what is this place? Must have been about 2. It's gigantic towering trees. Looming over this brown house. I almost feel as though if you wanted to find me, you probably could. Well, good luck if you get to me. Get to me good. I spent a lot of years looking up at the trees. And I will admit, it is, even right now, quite the feat. Most nights, if you look outside or out your window, you'll see a gray sky. No matter if the sky is black or dark, usually there's some sort of bloom casting a silhouette under these gigantic trees that tower above everything in its area. Such a grandiose setting. It can evoke many different feelings. I can remember as a child, I must have been 8 or 10, and one day, it was must have been a summer day, and I think through the heat was extended an electrical storm, a very powerful thunderstorm, where the thunder and lightning was happening right above our heads. It was loud and it was shaking the house. I could hear the wind outside, and it felt like our house was going to be swept away, or that I was. I felt so tiny And I would look at the windows and I would see the trees whipping in the air like unrelenting force. But yet holding steadfast, not snapping or breaking or falling over. Nevertheless, a scary sight as a child. Watching these things that you think somehow you gain this human intuition that these trees are larger than life and they're unstoppable and nothing can touch them. To see them struggling in the wind, like, you worry about the foundations of everything you've been brought up upon having its foundations shook. What if everything you knew could have been uprooted and destroyed, snapped in half, billowed in the wind out to sea? Well, it's been approximately 22 years. Seeing these trees evolve from whatever great heights they already were, I can't imagine how high the tallest one is. I'm not even sure which one is the tallest. I've never thought to question. Well, during the thunderstorm, I was wandering all over my house and I was frightened because I didn't know where my parents were. Both of them seemed to have vanished, and I had no clue where they are. I went through every room in the house that I could recollect existed. And finally I started crying and screaming, and then my parents somehow must have just appeared out of nowhere and consoled me and acted like they were just in the other room the whole time. Oh, I don't know. I don't know where they were. It's as if they were the storm. As fit, once they arrived, the storm didn't seem as important. Maybe they were just simply the shelter. Trees and roots of my being. So, 22 years later, 2 full, hard decades of hot and cold and moist and dry, these trees stand tall. As the highways around them unfold, they remain still towering above my head, keeping me ever curious as to what kind of force might necessitate such an unbreakable bond between dirt and clouds. Dirt and cloud. Those trees that were planted maybe 70 years ago, 60 or 70 years ago now, as I can only guess or imagine, by a man who grew old and died next door to us while I was growing up living a totally separate life. I wonder if when he was planting those trees, if he ever actually thought that not only they would sprout, but become some of the largest and most beautiful living beings that a young, retarded, impressionable child such as myself would come to fear and respect and cherish and wonder about for years and years to come. I have spent a decent portion of my life looking up at these trees and not really carefully considering them fully. Not until recently. Recently they've captivated me in slightly different ways. Recently they've mattered to me more than ever. Recently it's as if they've been calling me. Like as if some point 20 years ago a seed was planted for my life. 70 years ago a seed was planted to my life. As the cold, bitter wind is blowing in, I can hear them swaying. I can see them. If there's anything I'm grateful in life for, it's this.